and loyalty don't always mean safety. Sometimes, the very people closest to you can be the ones plotting your downfall. In some of Philadelphia's darkest cases, it's women, girlfriends, wives, even teenage girls who played the role of bait, luring men into traps that cost them their lives. In today's video, we'll be looking at 3 stories from Philadelphia where women set up men to be killed. Each case shows how quickly trust can turn into a weapon.
Bro, y'all know how many dudes is gone, like legit gone because of a woman, bro, that done set them up and got them killed, bro. That's whether if you not in the streets or not. Just say because they think Maul, because he a hood, and most of the time he be hood nigga. But you can just be a regular dude, and you probably got some money to you, and you just happen to be messing with the wrong shorty. Probably connected to the wrong people, but they see you messing with her, and they put her bug in here, and she get you gone. And it's a lot of dudes that's like out there, because we be thinking with the wrong head, but with the one in our pants, bro, most of the time, and it's crazy, man.
And how brotherly love can sometimes mask the deadliest kinds of betrayal. But before we get into the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. The first case is about a girl named Jamie Barnes from Philadelphia that was just 17 years old at the time of her alleged crime. She is accused of accidentally killing her own friend while trying to backdoor another man with him. On the evening of August 28, 2022, Jamie was hanging out in a group with 4 other teens and young adults, including 25-year-old Dakari Rome, another teenage girl, a 17-year-old male nicknamed Little Smoke, and another teenager named Kasim Williams. They were riding around in a car.
Look at that nigga. He did whatever he did, bro.
From place to place together, messing around and shooting people with Orbeez guns. The car belonged to Dakari, and Jamie was the one driving. The group eventually stopped at a 7-Eleven, then later parked in a lot on Grant Street near Union Alley. It was there that they set their plan in motion. Kasim had exchanged text messages with Dakari about robbing Little Smoke of his gun. Dakari texted Kasim saying things like, "We can get it tonight," and "He think we cool, he gonna let you hold it." Kasim responded with instructions telling Dakari to just play it cool, don't make him nervous. The plan was simple: hang out like friends, then convince Little Smoke to hand over the gun and turn it on him. They were able to successfully convince Little Smoke to hand the gun over to Dakari. That's where things spiraled out of control. Dakari handed the gun to Kasim, who then handed the gun to Jamie. Instead of just holding it, she started filming herself waving the gun around. She then proceeded to point the gun at Little Smoke and asked him what else he had on him. When he saw the barrel pointed at him, Little Smoke instinctively raised his hand. That's when Jamie fired the gun. The bullet tore right through Little Smoke's hand and accidentally shot directly into Dakari's chest. Dakari collapsed in the passenger seat. Once Little Smoke processed what happened, he ran out of the car. Jamie handed the gun to Kasim, who fired multiple shots in Little Smoke's direction, but luckily none of them hit him. The group then drove Dakari to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Police quickly connected the dots. They recovered the text messages that showed the plan to rob Little Smoke of his gun. Witnesses confirmed Jamie had been the one holding and firing the weapon. She was placed on the most wanted list the very next day and was arrested in Philadelphia less than 2 months later. She was charged with
4'7". Granted, she is 17 years old, but on me, somebody definitely got that little 5,000. Somebody definitely told on her.
First-degree murder, second-degree murder, third-degree murder, aggravated assault, robbery, conspiracy, possessing an instrument of crime, and multiple firearm charges. Kasim was charged with third-degree murder, attempted murder, aggravated assault, conspiracy, and possessing an instrument of crime. In 2023, he pled guilty to third-degree murder and attempted murder and was sentenced to 12 to 24 years in state prison. Jamie, facing trial, eventually took a plea deal too. She pled guilty to third-degree murder and aggravated assault. In 2024, a judge sentenced her to 10 to 25 years in prison.
That's crazy.
The next case is about a woman named Catherine Emmel, who was 29 years old at the time of her crime. She was living in a small town called Plymouth Meeting, which is about a 30-minute drive from Philadelphia. She had recently ended her relationship with a 35-year-old man named William Carter, but they decided to keep living in the same house together. What looked like an uneasy living arrangement would lead to something much darker. Catherine claimed that William had stopped paying his share of rent and other bills, leading to tension to rise between them. Things got even worse when William won $3,000 sports betting. Catherine was jealous that William did not share any of the money with her. It was at that point.
Damn, so she got that nigga set up because he. Why are you still living? Maybe his. I ain't gonna say maybe his living situation probably went like, but if we know we broke up, bro, I'm not living with this bitch no more, bro. I'm getting up out of there. And like, granted, it sounded like they said they was having arguments over him not paying, half of his rent and stuff like that. But like, come on, bro. Like, then you let her know you won 3,000 and you didn't share it, so she basically set you up, bro.
That she decided that he needed to be robbed.
Ooh.
Prosecutors say Catherine began bringing up William's recent gambling wins to people, telling others he had money worth taking. It was then that she set her plan in motion. She placed a GPS tracker into the car that William drove, then reached out to her drug dealer, a 29-year-old man named Daquan Allen. Texts and testimony later showed that Catherine called Daquan the night of the murder, giving him William's exact location and telling him how long he'd be there. Daquan didn't act alone. He put together a small crew. He recruited 17-year-old Damon Brantley Jr., 17-year-old Justin Davis, and 28-year-old Jerry Butler to join him on this mission and carry out the robbery while he served as the getaway driver. On January 20th, 2024, the crew moved in. William went out to his car a little before 8 p.m. near Westwood and Powell Streets in Norristown when he was ambushed. 3 men exited a gray Toyota RAV4 and approached him, while a 4th man stayed behind in the driver's seat. One of the suspects pushed him against a wall, and then after the robbery was done, one of them fatally shot William before all 3 ran back to their vehicle and sped off. Once they got away, they divvied up the money, less than $1,000 each. They attempted to cover.
And then y'all still got less than $1,000 each, bro. And you done turned the robbery into murder, bro. Like, y'all be slow, bro. And take her ass to jail too, cause she set it all up. Take her ass in jail. She probably gonna tell them niggas too.
For up their tracks by burning the getaway vehicle, but there was too much evidence left behind. Surveillance cameras later caught Catherine meeting up with Daquan in Philadelphia, where he handed her $700, her cut of the setup. Cell phone records and the GPS device sealed the case. Police tracked down Daquan, Jerry, and Damon in upstate New York and brought them back to Montgomery County to face trial. Catherine turned herself in on February 7th, 2024. At trial, Justin testified that Catherine had been the inside link. He told the jury about her call to Daquan, her role in pointing them toward William, and the plan for Damon to obtain a stolen car so it couldn't be traced. The jury's verdicts reflected each man's role. Damon was the one that fired the gun and killed William, so he was convicted of first-degree murder. Daquan and Jerry were convicted of second-degree murder, conspiracy, and robbery. Because Damon was only 17 at the time of the killing, his sentence is a mandatory 35 years to life. Daquan and Jerry are each facing life sentences without parole. Justin's plea deal and testimony allowed him to avoid a life sentence and get tried as a juvenile. He got a lenient sentence of just 4 years in juvenile prison as a part of his deal. As for Catherine, she chose to cooperate as well. In June of 2024, she pled guilty to third-degree murder and robbery. This led to her getting a relatively light sentence for the heinous nature of her actions. In October of 2024, she was sentenced to 6 to 15 years in state prison.
That's wild.
The final case is about a woman named Danielle Baxter, who was 39 years old at the time of her alleged crime. Danielle and her husband, a 30-year-old man named Jordan Baxter, lived in the Roxborough/Andorra section of Northwest Philadelphia. Jordan had worked for 14 years as a regional rail engineer for SEPTA. Together, they had 3 children. According to their neighbors, the family was outwardly friendly and cared for by those who knew them. But deep down, something much darker was going on. In the days leading up to the tragedy, Danielle posted something on social media that would later draw attention. On March 14th, 2025, she posted, "These females out here be plotting on your marriage and waiting for your downfall so they can come right on in, and these men let them." Just 5 days after posting that message, Danielle would allegedly do the unspeakable to her husband. On March 19th, 2025, early in the morning, neighbors heard screaming at the home on the 800 block of Bells Mill Road. Police responded around 7 a.m. They discovered Jordan in the driveway between two parked cars, lying on a plastic
Face
sheet.
down.
He was unresponsive, a gun found resting on his chest, and he was pronounced dead on the scene. Investigators quickly found evidence suggesting the shooting did not happen outside. Jordan had been shot inside a bedroom in the home, and then his body was dragged outside. Inside the house, blood was found.
So she shot him and she made it seem like, oh, that's crazy.
Including blood on a mattress. The gun found on his chest was not believed to be the weapon that fired the fatal shot. Danielle Baxter was arrested the next day and charged with murder, possession of an instrument of crime with intent, abuse of a corpse, and tampering/fabricating physical evidence. Her bail was denied, and she was held in the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center. At the time of these reports, authorities have not made public a definitive motive. What is known from the initial investigation is that Jordan and Danielle had become estranged from each other, and he was no longer living in the same house as her. If convicted of her charges, Danielle could end up spending the rest of her life in prison. Be mindful of the company you keep. Make sure to
Show me, bro. You can't trust. Man, you can't trust nobody. But like, you just can't trust nobody. You feel me? What's so can't trust nobody. Love nobody. You feel me?